What if the way you think about time is quietly controlling every fear you have, not in some abstract philosophical way, but in the way you replay old moments at night, in the way you hesitate before starting something new, in the way you feel like you're always late or running out? You wake up every day inside a structure you didn't choose, past behind you, future ahead, and you're stuck in the middle trying to keep up. That pressure you feel, that constant sense that something is slipping away, it's not because you're failing, it's because of how time has been explained to you. You were taught that time moves forward, that it carries you with it, that missed chances are gone forever, that the future is coming whether you're ready or not. And slowly, without noticing, you started living as if you're chasing something, instead of standing somewhere solid. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people never hear. Time doesn't feel heavy because it is heavy. It feels heavy because of how your mind experiences it. Think about it. The past only exists as memory. The future only exists as imagination. Yet both can hurt you more than anything happening right now. That's not an accident. That's not weakness. That's design. The human mind was never built to see time clearly. It was built to survive, to remember what went wrong, to anticipate what might go wrong again. And once you realize that, something cracks open, because the universe itself doesn't care about your deadlines. It doesn't label moments as wasted or productive. It doesn't mark years as too late or too early. Those labels live inside you. Physics doesn't say the past is chasing you. It doesn't say the future is pulling you forward. Those feelings come from how information flows in your brain, not from time itself. This is where everything begins to shift. If time is not a force pushing you, then the pressure you feel is not coming from the universe. It's coming from a story you've been repeating. A story that says you should be further by now. A story that says certain doors are closed forever. A story that keeps you waiting for the perfect moment, but waiting for time to give you permission. Is like waiting for the ocean to stop moving. Before you step into the water, understanding time doesn't make life colder. It makes it lighter. Because once you see that past and future are mental constructs, you stop letting them dominate the present. The past becomes information, not a prison. The future becomes possibility, not a threat. And in that space, something rare happens. You stop reacting. You start choosing. This isn't about positive thinking. It's about clarity. It's about realizing that the only moment that can carry weight is the one where your awareness exists right now. That's the moment where decisions are made, where courage shows up, where change actually happens. Not tomorrow, not someday, not when you finally feel ready. The pressure you've been living under dissolves when you stop treating time like a judge and start seeing it as a concept your mind uses to navigate reality. And when that happens, you don't just understand time differently. You live differently, calmer, sharper, more intentional. Not because time slowed down, but because you stopped being chased by it. Stay with this idea. Let it settle. Because once you truly see how time works, you don't go back to living on autopilot. You start living on purpose. Living on purpose sounds powerful, but it's also terrifying, because the moment you stop blaming time, there's nothing left to hide behind. No more, I'll do it later. No more, I'm not ready yet. No more waiting for the future to magically become safer. When you see time clearly, urgency appears, not panic, urgency with direction. You realize how often you've delayed your own life. Not because you're lazy, not because you don't care, but because you believed there was more time than there really is. Every day feels long. Years feel short. That's the trap. The mind stretches the present and shrinks the past. So you underestimate how fast moments turn into memories, how choices harden into patterns, how waiting quietly becomes a lifestyle. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up, because the truth is brutal and freeing at the same time. Nothing is coming to save you from inaction. No future version of you will magically appear with more courage, more clarity, more discipline. That version of you only exists if you create it now. Understanding time exposes the cost of hesitation. Not in dramatic ways, in quiet ones. Opportunities that fade without a sound. Relationships that slowly lose depth. Dreams that don't die but fall asleep. And the danger isn't failure. The danger is numbness. When days blur together, when weeks feel identical, when you stop expecting more from yourself, that's when time feels like it's disappearing. Not because it is, but because you stopped engaging with it. Physics tells us something unsettling. The universe doesn't privilege any moment over another. There is no built-in meaning, no highlighted path. Meaning only exists where attention is placed. That means your life doesn't become important by lasting longer. It becomes important by being lived deliberately. The present isn't small, it's infinite in influence. Every habit you repeat strengthens a direction. Every decision trains your future responses. Every moment of courage rewires what comes next. This is why awareness matters more than motivation. Motivation fades, awareness sharpens. When you're aware of time, you stop numbing yourself with distractions. You stop postponing discomfort. You stop negotiating with your potential. You don't need more hours. You need more honesty. Honesty about what you're avoiding. Honesty about what matters. Honesty about the fact that no moment is neutral. Doing nothing is still choosing something. The mind wants comfort. The universe responds to action. And once you see this, you can't unsee it. The pressure you feel isn't there to crush you. It's there to focus you. It's a signal, a reminder that being alive means participating. This doesn't mean rushing. It means committing to showing up even when it's messy, committing to starting before confidence arrives, committing to treating your attention like something valuable. Because it is, time doesn't owe you clarity. You create clarity by how you use it. And the moment you stop asking, is it too late? And start asking, what can I do now? Your life shifts direction, not dramatically, not overnight, but steadily, irreversibly. You begin to feel grounded instead of rushed, intentional instead of anxious, present instead of haunted, not because the past stopped existing, not because the future disappeared, but because you stopped letting them dominate the only place you can act. Here, this moment, where your next choice is waiting, this is where it becomes real. Because once you understand that only this moment has power, you start to feel the weight of it. Not as pressure, as responsibility. Every second you are aware is an opportunity to shape direction, not destiny, direction. And direction, repeated long enough, becomes a life. Most people wait for certainty before they move, but certainty is a reward for action, not a requirement. Time doesn't reveal itself to those who hesitate. It reveals itself to those who engage. That's the part few are ready to accept. You don't find meaning by thinking longer. You find it by stepping forward while your hands are still shaking. The mind will try to pull you backward. It will replay old moments, searching for safety. It will project futures filled with risk. That's what it does. That's how it protects you. But protection is not the same as progress. Progress lives on the edge of uncertainty, always has. When you stop seeing time as something to survive and start seeing it as something to use, your identity begins to change. You stop asking who you were. You stop worrying about who you'll become. You focus on who you are being right now. That shift is subtle, but it's permanent, because attention is a force, and where you place it determines what grows. Neglect weakens things. Presence strengthens them. That applies to habits, to relationships, to self-belief. You don't need to overhaul your life in one moment. You need to stop abandoning moments altogether. Small actions taken seriously reshape time itself, not on a clock, in your experience. When you act with intention, time feels fuller, not faster, not slower. Fuller, moments stretch because they matter, days separate because they mean something. Your life stops blending into a blur. This is why awareness feels uncomfortable at first, because you can no longer claim ignorance. You can no longer say you didn't know. You know now. You know that waiting is a choice. You know that distraction is a decision. You know that every moment unattended becomes fuel for regret. And regret is just the mind noticing lost attention. But here's the part that restores hope. Nothing is lost forever. No moment wasted erases the power of the next one. Time does not punish delay. It simply responds to use. The present doesn't judge your past. It only asks what you will do with it. And that is where freedom lives. Freedom is not endless time. Freedom is focused time. It's choosing to engage fully instead of partially, to commit instead of drift, to live as if your attention matters. Because it does, you were. He never meant to outrun time. You were meant to inhabit it, to feel it, to shape it, to let it sharpen you instead of dull you. The universe is not rushing you. Your mind is, and once you stop mistaking mental noise for reality, you regain control of your direction, not through force, through clarity. Clarity that says this moment is enough to begin, enough to decide, enough to act. You don't need permission from the future. You don't need closure from the past. You need presence. Presence turns intention into motion. Motion turns effort into momentum. Momentum turns moments into meaning. This is how lives are built, quietly, deliberately, one conscious choice at a time. Time is not running out, but it is responding, and what you do now is what it will become. When you finally see that time responds to what you do now, something inside you tightens, because there is no neutral ground anymore. Every moment either moves you closer to alignment or further into distraction. And that truth demands honesty. You start noticing how often you escape the present, how quickly you reach for noise, how easily you trade awareness for comfort, not because you don't care, but because being present requires courage. Presence means feeling uncertainty without running. It means choosing effort without guarantees. It means acting before outcomes are clear. That's why most people drift. Drifting feels safe. Drifting feels painless. But drifting has a cost that compounds quietly. Days pass in 10. Shins soften, the edge you once had dulls. And one day you realize you've been busy without being engaged, alive without being awake. This is the moment where everything either sharpens or fades, because once you understand time, you understand that avoidance is expensive, not in years, in identity. You become what you repeatedly postpone, and postponement rewires you. It teaches your mind that hesitation is normal, that discomfort is dangerous, that waiting is wise, until one day waiting feels permanent. But this isn't a warning meant to paralyze you. It's an invitation to step forward deliberately. The present moment doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for participation. You don't need to feel fearless. You need to feel present. Fear loses power when it's met with action. Doubt dissolves when it's challenged by movement. Clarity is born in motion. This is where understanding time becomes transformative, because you stop treating action as a result of confidence and start treating it as the source. You act, then you learn, then you adjust. That's how direction forms. And once direction exists, time feels different. It stops feeling like pressure. It starts feeling like momentum. Momentum doesn't come from speed. It comes from consistency. Showing up again, paying attention again, choosing deliberately again. That's how meaning accumulates, not in grand gestures, in repeated presence. The mind will still try to pull you away. It will offer distractions dressed as relief. It will replay stories that keep you small. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're aware. Awareness doesn't silence the noise. It gives you the choice not to obey it. And that choice, exercised often enough, becomes strength. Strength is not force, it's alignment. Alignment between what you value and how you spend your attention. When those two match, time stops feeling wasted. Even difficult moments carry weight. Even uncertainty feels meaningful. You begin to trust yourself again. Not because outcomes improve instantly, but because you know you're engaged. Engagement creates dignity. Dignity creates resilience. And resilience changes how you move through time. You stop measuring life by speed. You stop comparing timelines. You stop asking if you're behind. Behind what? There is no universal schedule. There is only your capacity to be present and intentional. Once you let go of imagined deadlines, you reclaim energy that was trapped in anxiety. That energy becomes focus. Focus becomes depth. Depth becomes fulfillment. This is what it means to live inside time instead of racing against it. You don't rush, you don't freeze, you choose over and over, each choice reinforcing the next, each moment strengthening direction. This is how ordinary days become meaningful, how small actions reshape identity, how awareness turns into a way of living. Time doesn't need to be conquered. It needs to be respected. Respected enough to show up fully, respected enough to stop wasting attention, respected enough to act when it matters. And it always matters now, because now is where effort lives. Now is where courage shows itself. Now is where your life is actually happening. Not in memory, not in anticipation. Here, and what you do with this moment is what your future will be made of. And when you truly accept that your future is being shaped right now, the moment sharpens again, because this is not theory anymore. It's practice. Every thought you entertain becomes a signal. Every action you repeat becomes a trajectory. Time listens to patterns, not promises. You can say what you want, you can intend what you want, but time responds to what you do consistently. That realization strips away excuses. It shows you that change doesn't arrive in dramatic moments. It arrives quietly through repetition. What you choose to focus on today becomes what feels natural tomorrow. That's how habits form. That's how identities solidify. You are not the result of one big decision. You are the result of many small ones you stopped noticing. And once you see this, you can't pretend anymore. You can't say you're stuck when you're repeating the same patterns. You can't say you're lost when you're avoiding direction. You can't say you lack time when attention is leaking everywhere. This isn't blame. It's power returning to where it belongs. Because the moment you stop waiting for permission, you step into authorship. Authorship over your attention, authorship over your effort, authorship over your days. And authors don't rush the story. They shape it. They understand that meaning is built through consistency, not urgency fueled by fear. Fear burns fast. Purpose lasts. Purpose grows when you align your actions with what matters, even when no one is watching, even when results are slow. That's when time starts working with you instead of against you. You stop feeling chased. You start feeling directed. Directed doesn't mean certain. It means committed. Committed to showing up with awareness. Committed to acting despite discomfort. Committed to using time instead of numbing yourself inside it. Because numbing feels easy. But numbness steals depth. Depth is what makes life feel real. Depth comes from paying attention long enough to let moments leave a mark. That's why presence is rare, and that's why it's powerful. When you are present, even simple actions carry weight. Even ordinary days feel intentional. Even struggle feels meaningful. You stop asking if it's worth it. You know it is. Not because the outcome is guaranteed, but because the process aligns you with yourself. Alignment is the reward. Alignment quiets the constant comparison. It silences the imagined timelines. It frees you from measuring your life against someone else's pace. There is no universal clock judging you. There is only your relationship with the moment you're in, and that relationship is built through honesty. Honesty about where you are. Honesty about what you want. Honesty about what you're avoiding. Avoidance always feels like relief at first. Then it turns into weight. Engagement feels heavy at first. Then it turns into strength. That's the reversal most people never push through. They quit at the discomfort stage and never reach the clarity stage. But clarity is waiting. On the other side of effort, effort doesn't mean grinding yourself down. It means choosing presence over escape. It means staying with the moment long enough to let it change you. Because every moment you meet fully teaches your mind that you are capable of discomfort, capable of patience, capable of direction, and capability compounds. You begin to trust yourself again. Not because everything works out, but because you know you'll respond. That trust is priceless. It makes the future feel less threatening. It makes the past feel less heavy. It anchors you where you can actually act. Here, this is where time stops being an enemy. This is where it becomes a medium through which you express values, a medium through which you grow, a medium through which you build a life that feels intentional, not perfect, not easy, but real, and real is enough. Because when you live with awareness, even unfinished paths have meaning, even slow progress has dignity. You don't need more time. You need to stop abandoning the time you have. Right now is not a bridge to something else. It is the foundation, and what you build on it depends on what you choose to do while you're standing here. Once you see that the present is the foundation, not a waiting room, something irreversible happens. You stop bargaining with time. You stop treating today as a rehearsal for a future that never arrives. Because you finally understand this truth, the future is built out of attention, Sekhed, moment by moment, nothing else. No sudden breakthroughs, no perfect timing, no hidden shortcut, just repeated presence. This is where most people turn away, not because it's hard to understand, but because it's impossible to outsource. No one can live this moment for you. No one can focus for you. No one can choose for you. And that responsibility is heavy only if you resist it. When you accept it, it becomes grounding. You realize you don't need to control everything. You only need to control where you place yourself now. That's manageable. That's human. You don't need to know the whole path. You need to take the next honest step. Time doesn't reward certainty. It rewards engagement. Engagement is showing up when it's inconvenient. Engagement is staying present when it's uncomfortable. Engagement is choosing depth over distraction. Distraction promises relief, but it robs you of momentum. Momentum is built when you keep choosing despite resistance. Resistance never disappears, but it loses authority. Because every time you act with awareness, you teach yourself something critical. You teach yourself that you are not passive, that you are not stuck, that you are capable of directing your life. That lesson compounds faster than motivation ever could. Motivation fades with mood. Capability grows with use. And the more capable you feel, the less intimidating the future becomes. Not because it's predictable, but because you trust how you'll meet it. That trust changes everything. It loosens the grip of regret. It softens the fear of wasted time. It allows you to move forward without dragging yesterday behind you. You stop living as if every mistake defines you. You start living as if every moment can recalibrate you, because it can. Time doesn't trap you in who you were. It only reflects who you're being. This is why understanding time is not abstract. It's practical. It changes how you wake up, how you focus, how you respond instead of react. It changes how you speak to yourself when things don't go perfectly. Instead of spiraling, you adjust. Instead of quitting, you refine. Instead of waiting, you engage. Engagement is the antidote to helplessness. Helplessness thrives when you feel carried by time. Strength grows when you realize you are moving within it, not above it, not against it, within it. Like a current, you learn to navigate instead of fight. The moment you stop resisting the present and start working with it, your life gains traction, not instantly, but unmistakably. You feel it in how decisions get clearer, in how distractions lose their grip, in how your days start to feel intentional again. You stop asking for life to feel meaningful. You make it meaningful by how you show up. This isn't about intensity every second. It's about honesty. Honesty with your attention, honesty with your effort, honesty with the fact that no moment is empty unless you abandon it. Even rest can be intentional. Even pause can be purposeful. What drains you is unconscious living. Living half present, half committed, half aware. That's what makes time feel like it's slipping away. But when you step fully into moments, time stops feeling like loss and starts feeling like substance. You can feel your life again, not as a blur, not as a race, as a sequence of meaningful choices. This is what it means to respect time, not worship it, not fear it. Respect it enough to be present, respect it enough to act, respect it enough to stop postponing the life you're already inside. You don't need to catch up. You don't need to start over. You need to arrive. Arrive in this moment with awareness. Arrive with intention. Arrive willing to participate. Because this moment is not passing you by, it's offering itself. And what you do with it is what your life will quietly become.